Hello ladies and gents, this is another video brought to you by Ants Hood. And today's video is going to be an introduction stroke care video into my Iridomyrmex purpureus, or my meat ants. Now I think I got that right, it only took me like 17 takes to get that Latin right. God, it was horrible. I'm going to let you guys know now, I've still got a horribly blocked up nose and I've got a massive headache and I feel absolutely awful, but I definitely wanted to get a video out about these girls because they are awesome. At the time of filming this video, I literally think there's only one place I got them in stock, and that's where I got them from, which was Ants Davey. I will put a link in the description below so you guys can check it out yourself. But all you need to do is go onto the cover page and you can see them there. Well, don't be fooled by the £99-100 for them, because it's not. He hasn't got any just queens alone. They've got workers now. So that's £114. But what is interesting is he has now offered, I mean, literally this must have been like a recent addition. He now offers PayPal broken down into 3 installments of payment, which makes expensive ants like these a lot more accessible for people like me that kind of struggle with money, but, you know, still have enough to buy ants, because we spend all our money on ants because we're geeks and we love ants. Ants. And as always, if you scroll down, there's information on these ants. Now, I will talk about this in a bit more detail when through the course of this video with all this information in, but of course it's on their website, so by all means check out in the link below and you can see them for yourself. But let's take a look at my colony. Now, I got these about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and the brood was very small. But in the short period, should I say, of 2 weeks, they have grown hugely. Now, I'm just checking out the queen here. Now, purpureus actually stands for purple in Latin, but I don't think she's very purple. I'll say she's more iridescent, maybe a bit like different colour kind of thing. But then again, the workers, I guess you could class them as purple. I don't know. But if you look at the brood, like I was saying, they have grown a huge amount in the past 2 weeks. I generally feel like the turnaround from egg to adult with these guys is going to be about 4 to 5 weeks, judging by the growth that I've seen and the size of them adult workers here. But even though they've come through the post recently and stuff, you can see a small batch of eggs there. I counted roughly around 20 to 30 eggs, which, to tell you the truth, is pretty good, because obviously being a foundation, I reckon I'm going to double my numbers with the amount of brood, then double the numbers again with the amount of eggs that she's currently laid. So that's really good news. She's settled right in and seems very happy. Normally, I've got a strange obsession with polymorphic ants, and I love ants that have different sizes. Now, these guys actually don't have different sizes workers. They're generally all the same once you get past the nenitic stage, which isn't normally what I like, but what I do like about this is I've also got a fetish for insanely fast-grown species. Now, these guys don't only grow fast, they also grow very big. Reports say that they could grow to colonies up to 10 wrong, 100,000 strong. Now, in the wild, they can grow mounds in the ground up to, I think it was 22 inches or whatever it is. So they do make big nests and they do need a lot of space. Now, yet again, it's probably going to be the same scenario that I talk about with my Solenopsis, where you need to make sure you can keep up with them. But at the moment, they're in a very basic setup where it's just like a tubs and tubes setup, and I'll show you that in a second anyway. Now, these girls don't hibernate, which is also a plus for me, because not that I don't like ants that hibernate, I just find it more of a pain in the bum than anything else. I'd rather have non-hibernation species, hence why I've got so many exotics. Now, climate requirements for these is fairly easy as well. I mean, the nest temperature is between 24 to 26 degrees, which is bang on the button for how I keep my ant cave temperature at the moment, and their humidity in the nest area is 50 to 60%. What I'm going to go forward housing these in the future, I'm not entirely sure. I'm thinking the Wakooshi S6 nest, or maybe one of the Ant Boy Smart Nest. I haven't quite decided yet. For individual ants, they're about a medium size, with the queens being 12 to 15 millimeters and workers being 6 to 10 millimeters. So they're not huge ants, but they're not small ants either, so you can still see some great detail. I mean, like, look at the detail in that video there in the background. You can still see part of the wings where she's recently pulled them off. That's also really good news as well, because it means that she is from the most recent nuptial flights, which is great, because what you don't want is one from last year, for example, or something like that. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. She's looking great, and the colony is also doing fantastic as well. Feeding these ladies isn't too difficult either, because we've got the standard requirements for carbohydrates like a honey water mix or that goo you get off Antantics, for example, and protein like fruit flies or cockroaches. It's worth bearing in mind that fruit flies are great when they're a small colony, but as they get bigger they're going to eat something like cockroaches. But they also will take, hence the name, meat ants, meat as well. So as they get bigger, they are going to need, you're probably going to struggle to keep up with the feeding requirements with just cockroaches and stuff. So you will need to start looking at feeding them sort of meats like pinkies, little baby mice and things like that. In the wild, they're actually one of the most important predators of cane toads, because they will get hold of them and they will strip them down to the bone. And as cane toads are invasive, should I say, in Australia, where these girls are from, that's a really important trait that they've got, because they're helping the environment no way, because, well, cane toads are just horrible. They just eat everything apart from meat ants, because they eat them. As you can see here, the cotton wool's starting to go a bit yellow as well, which isn't great considering I've only had it 2 weeks, but the water's also starting to run out. So, I mean, I think I'll put it back in a second, you'll see. It's going, and it's starting to get a hint of yellow in there as well. So I'm going to need to look at moving them on shortly. But currently, they're in this little setup here. Now, you've got the Ant Boy Elite Nest, I think it is. Not Nest, Outworld, I think it is there. Which is great for, like, larger species. Small species, it's pants because they can just get out through the gaps. But something like meat ants, they're absolutely fine in there. And they're really good because they're fairly cheap. And as you can see, I've got a test tube attached to that Outworld. Now, the reason I do this setup, which I do a lot of, to be fair, is because I'm a firm believer in minimum amount of disturbance for the queen. And what this Outworld allows me to do is keep the queen in the stationary position, so she's not getting disturbed by vibration. She's not getting disturbed because I'm picking up the test tube, taking out the cap, shoving food in there, which is going to stress them out, and then freaking leave them a be again. So what I find is a lot better is attaching an Outworld like this, because you can then feed the queens, well, feed the workers, because all you do is drop the food into the Outworld. I don't need to worry about mouldiness in the test tube unless they take food in there, like some species do. But I don't need to worry about mouldiness in the test tube. I don't need to worry about disturbing the queen, because I literally put it out in the Outworld and the ants do what they do naturally, which is they leave the foundation chamber and they go forage for food in the big wide world, or in this case, a little elite Outworld. In saying that, they also need to look at moving them into a different test tube, because this one's got scratches all over it. So when I'm actually trying to film, there it goes again. It starts focusing in on the scratches, which makes it a bit of a nightmare, and again, makes it a bit of a nightmare for me. So I definitely want to change test tube for that reason as well. I have been after these for a very long time, but I've always been put off by the price. I mean, £115 with workers and brood is expensive no matter what planet you're from. So it's kind of put me off. But when these arrived, I'm really, really pleased, because they've got a decent amount of brood and they had a decent amount of workers as well. I think about 10, I think, off the top of my head. So, you know, and the colony's clearly doing well, because you'll see in this next clip now that they've still got young eggs there as well. So the queen has definitely settled down and she's laying eggs. So it's a really, really big turn up, and I'm really pleased for it. She is absolutely beautiful, and I've got a knack for crazy species, and this definitely comes to that bracket, because like I said, the size of these colonies have been reported up to 100,000 plus. I've also seen reports when doing a bit of research they can get up to 300,000, but then equally I've seen reports where they said they only get up to 44,000 in strong. The truth is that the only way to find out is by keeping these and then feeding them as much protein as they want, so they can grow as quickly as they can. And these guys do grow really quickly. They are, yet again, a really great species if you want a quick growing, decent sized colony, so you can actually see what's going on. And these guys fit that bucket, to be fair. Unlike your Camponotus nicobrensis, even though these have got a similar kind of growth rate, Camponotus nicobrensis don't grow anywhere near as quick as these. So if the size of these kind of scares you, I would recommend that you go for nicobrensis, just because they are a lot cheaper and their colony size is a lot more manageable. I must admit, what I do find kind of interesting as well is that some of the brood, obviously I've been giving them that blue goo off of Antantics. It's not actually called blue goo, I just call it blue goo because I nickname most things in my life. Apart from my ants, funny enough, I just use shorter names for them. That's just weird. But anyway, what is interesting about this is you'll pan round to the brood. You'll see how half the brood's got blue bellies where they've been drinking the blue goo from Antantics, and half of it hasn't. Now, I don't know why that is. I don't know why select larvae is the word I was looking for here, have been taking the blue goo and the other ones haven't. The only thing I can suggest is maybe the other ones have been fed purely on protein, and these guys are very protein hungry. They generally, when I put a new cockroach in, they don't necessarily polish it completely off, because I do give them quite a big bit, but they definitely don't waste any time in processing it. They get right on it and they get all over it like a tramp on chips, and they love it. Now, I know you guys are probably going to want to keep a track on these, so by all means, hit the like and subscribe button if you like this video, and if you want to see more of my meat ants as well. I nearly tried to say the Latin name and messed that one up, so I'm glad I didn't. Now, like I said, these guys are going to be featuring a lot on my channel because I think I've got a lot of trial and tribulations coming with them because of me trying to keep up with their growth. And then rather than limiting their protein intake, which I'm probably not going to do because I'm a lunatic, I will probably struggle to keep up with their growth and then complain about it and then get even bigger setups for them. Currently, I really need to expand my ant cave because I'm struggling for space in it, and these girls are not going to make that job any easier because I need more space. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video on my meat ants. Sorry I sound so monotone, but I literally can't see, smell or speak properly because my nose is that bunged up. So I do apologise for that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like it, please hit like and subscribe. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Ants Hood. And you generally ask me any questions. I generally get back to just about everybody, unless you're being abusive towards me, which I seem to be getting a lot at the moment. Don't ask me why though, I've got Scoobies. Please join me to say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. If it wasn't for these guys' continued support, my channel wouldn't be what it is today. So a big thank you to Adam W, Adrian, Antantics, Anty Matters, David D, Jason W, Kevin R, Paul A, Pavance, PJGrant and Wakooshi. And if you guys want to help support my channel, by all means, check a link to Patreon in my description below. But that's it for today then, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I look forward to seeing my next one. Bye-bye for now.